Alex Porter stared out the viewport of the transport ship as it approached Zevon Prime. The planet looked like a giant blue marble with swirling white clouds and patches of purple landmasses. Alex felt both excited and nervous. At 17 years old, he was about to become the first human to attend an alien school. 5 minutes until landing, announced the ship's computer. Please secure all personal items. Alex double-checked his bags. He had packed light. Some clothes, his geology tools, and a few items from Earth that his parents insisted he bring. His mom had cried when he left, worried about him being so far from home. His dad had been proud, but concerned too. You'll be fine, his dad had said. Just remember, you represent all of humanity out there. Those words felt heavy now as the ship began its descent through the atmosphere of Zevon Prime. Humans had only discovered the Zevani 3 years ago. The blue-skinned aliens were smart and peaceful, but they had evolved on a world very different from Earth. The ship landed with a gentle bump. Alex took a deep breath and stood up. The gravity felt strange, stronger than Earth's, but not by much. The air smelled like mint and something else he couldn't name. Welcome to Celestial Academy Transport Station, said a voice in slightly accented English. Please exit slowly. Alex walked down the ramp and saw a group of Zevani waiting. They were tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Their large eyes blinked rapidly as they watched him approach. The tallest alien stepped forward. I am Principal Klovek. Welcome to Zevon Prime, Alex Porter. Thank you for having me, Alex replied, trying to remember his diplomatic training. He held out his hand, then remembered Zevani didn't shake hands. Instead, he bowed slightly. Principal Klovek's skin changed color slightly, turning a lighter shade of blue. Your transport was on time, good. We have prepared living quarters for you near the school. The environment has been adjusted to match Earth conditions as much as possible. I appreciate that, but I'd like to try living in regular Zevani conditions. If I can, Alex said. Part of why I'm here is to learn how you live. The principal and the other Zevani looked at each other. One of them whispered something that Alex's translator didn't catch. Are you certain? Asked Principal Klovek. Our world has 1.3 times Earth's gravity and lower temperatures than you are accustomed to. Alex nodded. I've trained for this. I want the full experience. Very well, said the principal, though he didn't sound convinced. Please follow me to the transport vehicle. The vehicle looked like a bus without wheels. It hovered above the ground and had large windows. As Alex climbed aboard, he noticed how the Zevani moved, gracefully but carefully as if they were afraid of falling. The ride to Celestial Academy took about 20 minutes. During that time, Principal Klovek explained the basic rules of the school and showed Alex a map on a thin tablet. You will attend regular classes with our students, said the principal. Your schedule includes science, mathematics, language, history, and physical education. We have modified some lessons to include information about Earth. What about geology? Asked Alex. That's my favorite subject. Yes, we have added Earth geology to the curriculum. Our teacher, Professor Tazalin, is very interested in your planet's volcanic activities. Alex smiled. Great. Earth has amazing geological features. The vehicle stopped in front of a large building made of something that looked like glass but wasn't. It shimmered with rainbow colors when the light hit it. Students were walking around outside, all of them Zevani. When they spotted Alex, they stopped and stared. Here we are, said Principal Klovek. Celestial Academy has 500 students ranging from what you would call middle school to high school age. Alex stepped out of the vehicle and immediately felt the difference. The air was colder, and his body felt heavier under the stronger gravity. But it wasn't unbearable, just different. The Zevani students kept their distance, watching him with wide eyes. Their skin colors shifted between blues and purples, which Alex had learned meant curiosity and nervousness. Students, called Principal Klovek. This is Alex Porter from Earth. He will be studying with us this semester as part of our cultural exchange program. A few students waved tentatively. One brave student stepped forward, her skin a bright teal color. Hello, she said. I am Eliaven. My family studies different species. I have read about humans. Nice Nice to meet you, Eliaven, said Alex. When he spoke, several students jumped back slightly. His voice was deeper than Zivani voices, which tended to be soft and musical. Sorry, Alex said more quietly. No need to apologize, said Principal Klovek. We must all adjust to our differences. Eliaven, would you show Alex to the dormitory? His room is in Section C. Of course, she replied. As they walked toward the dormitories, Alex noticed how the other students made way for him, keeping their distance. Some whispered to each other behind their hands. Don't mind them, said Eliaven. Most of them have never seen a human before. They're just surprised. By what? Asked Alex. Well, she hesitated. You're solid. Humans have dense muscles and thick bones. Zivani are more fragile. Alex hadn't realized that. He looked at Eliaven more carefully and noticed how delicate she seemed. Her arms were thin and her fingers had an extra joint. She moved with a grace that made her seem almost weightless despite the strong gravity. I'll be careful, he promised. Here's your room, she said, stopping at a door. Classes start tomorrow. The schedule is on your desk. If you need anything, my room is 2 doors down. Thanks, said Alex. When she left, he entered his room. It was simple but comfortable with a bed, desk, and something that looked like a bathroom. The window showed a view of purple trees and a silver lake in the distance. Alex sat on the bed and took a deep breath. Tomorrow would be his first day at an alien school. He was nervous, but excited too. This was why he had come to Zivan Prime, to learn about the Zivani and show them what humans were like. What he didn't know was that his normal human abilities would seem like superpowers to the Zivani, and that by the end of his first week, the entire school would be both terrified and amazed by the strange creature from Earth. Alex woke up early on his first day at Celestial Academy. The room was cold and his breath made small clouds in the air. He got out of bed and did some quick exercises to warm up. 20 push-ups, 30 jumping jacks, and a few stretches. It felt good to move after the long journey to Zivan Prime. He showered, dressed in the school uniform that had been provided for him, a silver blue jumpsuit with the school's symbol on the chest, and checked his schedule. First class, Science, with instructor Narivesh. Alex left his room and walked down the hallway. A few Zivani students were also heading to class. They moved aside quickly when they saw him coming. Alex tried to smile at them, but this only made them move away faster. The science classroom was large with curved desks arranged in a half circle. Most of the seats were already filled when Alex arrived. The room went quiet as he entered. Found an empty seat near the front and sat down carefully, aware that everything on this planet seemed more delicate than on Earth. Instructor Narivesh entered the room. She was taller than most Zivani, with deep blue skin that had patterns of lighter blue across her face. Her large eyes widened when she saw Alex. Our Earth visitor has arrived, she said. Class, as you know, we have a special guest this semester. This is Alex Porter from planet Earth. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself? Alex stood up, trying not to move too suddenly. Hello, my name is Alex Porter. I'm from Nebraska, which is in the middle part of the United States on Earth. I'm 17 years old and I'm really interested in geology. I'm excited to learn about your world and share about mine. The Zivani students stared at him. One raised a thin hand. Yes, Velnor, said Instructor Narivesh. Is it true that Earth has extreme environmental conditions? Asked the student. Alex wasn't sure how to answer. Earth seemed normal to him. Well, we have different climate zones. Some places are very hot, others very cold. We have oceans, deserts, forests, mountains, and high gravity? Asked another student. Actually, Earth's gravity is less than Zivan Prime's, Alex explained. That's why it feels heavier to me here. But what about the atmospheric pressure and the radiation levels from your sun? Asked Velnor. Instructor Narivesh stepped in. These are excellent questions that we will cover in our comparative planetary science unit next week. For now, let us begin our lesson on molecular structures. The class turned their attention to the instructor, though many kept glancing back at Alex. He tried to focus on the lesson, which was about how different molecules formed on different planets. It was interesting, but more advanced than his Earth science classes. After science came mathematics, which Alex found difficult. The Zivani used a base 12 number system instead of base 10, and their symbols were completely different from Earth numbers. By lunchtime, Alex was hungry and a little tired from the stronger gravity. He followed the other students to the cafeteria, a large room with small tables. The walls were made of the same shimmering material as the outside of the building. Alex got in line for food. The Zivani in front of him looked back, saw him, and quickly moved away, letting him go ahead. Alex wasn't sure if this was meant to be polite or if the student was afraid of him. The food options were strange. There were purple fruits, blue vegetables, and something that looked like rice but was orange. Alex tried a little of everything and found a table in the corner to sit alone. As he ate, he noticed most of the Zivani were keeping their distance. They whispered to each other and pointed at him when they thought he wasn't looking. Only one, student Eliavan from yesterday, seemed willing to approach. "May I join you?" she asked. "Please," said Alex, happy to have company. She sat down with her tray. "How was your first morning?" "Interesting," Alex replied, "but I feel like everyone is afraid of me." Eliavan's skin flickered to a pale blue, which Alex guessed meant embarrassment. "It's not personal," she said. "Humans are just very different from what we're used to." "Different how?" asked Alex. "Well," she hesitated, "you're from what we call a death world. Earth has high gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous animals, powerful storms, and high UV radiation compared to Zivan Prime. Humans evolved to survive all that. But Zivan Prime has stronger gravity than Earth," Alex pointed out. "Yes, but our atmosphere is much thicker and filters out harmful radiation. We have no large predators. Our weather is mild. We evolved to be smart rather than strong." Before Alex could respond, the bell rang for the next class, physical education. He followed Eliavan to a large room that reminded him of a gym back on Earth, except everything was in shades of blue and purple. The physical education teacher, Coach Prelvik, was shorter and stockier than other Zivani, but still looked fragile compared to humans. "Today we will practice balance and coordination," he announced, "but first warm-up exercises." The warm-up was so gentle that Alex barely felt like he was moving. The Zivani students stretched slowly and did a few light jumps. When it was time for the main activity, Coach Prelvik brought out a ball. "We will play catch pass," he explained. "The goal is to catch the ball and pass it to another student who calls your name." The game began. The Zivani threw the ball with gentle tosses. When someone called Alex and threw the ball to him, he caught it easily and looked for someone to pass it to. A Zivani across the room raised his hand. "Desmar!" Alex called, and threw the ball with what he thought was a light toss. The ball flew across the room much faster than any of the previous throws. Desmar tried to catch it but missed, and the ball hit his chest. He stumbled backward with a surprised look. "I'm sorry," Alex said quickly. "I didn't mean to throw it so hard." Coach Prelvik hurried over to check on Desmar, who insisted he was fine. But after that, no one called Alex's name during the game. Later, the ball got stuck on a high shelf. Coach Prelvik was looking for a ladder when Alex walked over. "I can get it," he said. Before anyone could stop him, Alex jumped up, easily reaching more than 2 meters off the ground, and grabbed the ball. When he landed and turned around, the entire class was staring at him with wide eyes. Some had backed away to the far wall. "How did you do that?" asked Coach Prelvik. His skin turned almost white with shock. "Do what?" asked Alex, confused. "Jump? Without any assistance? No anti-gravity aids?" "It's just a normal jump," Alex explained. "All humans can jump about this high." The room was completely silent. Alex realized then that what was normal for him was extraordinary for the Zivani. He handed the ball to Coach Prelvik, who took it with shaking hands. By the end of the day, word had spread throughout the school about the human who could throw objects with incredible force and leap impossible heights. As Alex walked back to his dormitory, he noticed the Zivani students gave him even more space than before. He was no longer just the strange alien from Earth. Now he was something else to them, something powerful and potentially dangerous. And this was only the beginning of the surprises he would bring to Celestial Academy. A week passed at Celestial Academy. Alex was learning to be more careful around the Zivani students. He moved slower, spoke softer, and tried not to show his full strength. Still, most students kept their distance. Only Eliaven and a few of her friends would talk to him regularly. During lunch on his 8th day, Eliaven sat with Alex as usual. 2 others, Ivani, Drezik, and Valan, joined them. They were part of the school's science club and were more curious than afraid of Alex. "The geology field trip is tomorrow," said Eliaven. "Are you excited?" Alex smiled. "Very. I've been looking forward to seeing the crystal caverns since I first read about them." "The caverns are amazing," said Drezik. "They formed over 2 million years ago when this region had active volcanoes. We don't have anything like them on Earth," said Alex. "Our caves are mostly limestone or ice." "Professor Taslin says we'll collect samples," added Valan. "I heard you're good at identifying crystal types." "I've studied Earth minerals," Alex said, "but Zevan Prime has so many new types I've never seen before." As they talked, Alex noticed Principal Klovek watching their table. The principal had been keeping an eye on him since the jumping incident in physical education class. Alex wasn't sure if he was concerned for Alex's safety or for the other students. The next morning, 2 hover buses waited outside the school to take 3 classes to the Crystal Caverns. Alex boarded the second bus and sat next to Eliaven. Professor Taslin, the geology teacher, stood at the front to give instructions. "The Crystal Caverns are a protected natural site," she said. "We will stay on the marked paths. You may collect fallen crystal samples only from the collection zones. Do not touch the wall formations, they are very delicate." The bus trip took an hour. Alex watched the landscape change from the city to purple forests and then to rocky hills. The temperature dropped as they climbed higher into the mountains. When they arrived, Alex saw a large entrance in the side of a mountain. It glowed with blue and purple light that came from inside. The students lined up as Professor Taslin handed out sample collection bags and small lights to attach to their uniforms. "Stay with your assigned groups," she reminded them. "The cavern paths are well marked, but some areas can be slippery." Alex was in a group with Eliaven, Drezik, Valan, and 2 other students he didn't know well. They followed Professor Taslin into the cavern entrance. Inside, Alex gasped. Huge crystals grew from the floor and ceiling. They were every color imaginable: blue, purple, green, pink, and some colors he didn't even have names for. The crystals glowed with their own light, filling the cavern with a soft, colorful glow. "The main chamber is ahead," said Professor Taslin. "From there we'll split into our groups and take different paths." As they walked deeper into the caverns, Alex noticed the temperature was much colder than outside. His breath made bigger clouds now, but he didn't mind. The beauty of the crystals made him forget about the cold. The main chamber was enormous. The ceiling was at least 30 meters high, with giant crystal columns connecting the floor and ceiling. 5 different paths led off from this central area. Group 1 will take the north path, Group 2 the east path. Professor Taslin began assigning routes. Alex's group was assigned the west path, which Professor Taslin said had some of the oldest crystal formations. They set off with Eliaven leading the way and Alex bringing up the rear. The path was narrow in some places, forcing them to walk single file. They stopped at collection zones to gather fallen crystal pieces. Alex found a beautiful pink shard that changed color when he turned it in the light. He carefully placed it in his sample bag. "This next section has gravity crystals," said Eliaven, pointing ahead. "They can affect the local gravity field, so walk carefully." As they moved forward, Alex felt lighter. It was like Earth's gravity, or even less. He had to be careful not to push off too hard when he walked. They had gone about half a kilometer into the tunnel when Alex felt a slight vibration. He stopped. "Did you feel that?" he asked. The others looked at him confused. "Feel what?" asked Drezik. Before Alex could answer, a stronger vibration shook the cavern. Small crystal pieces fell from the ceiling. The Zivani students froze, their skin turning pale with fear. "Earthquake," said Valen, his voice shaking. "It's just a small tremor," Alex tried to reassure them. He'd felt much worse earthquakes in California when visiting his cousins. But the tremor grew stronger. The path beneath their feet cracked. Part of the ceiling came down about 20 meters ahead of them, blocking the path forward. The tremor stopped as suddenly as it had started. "Is everyone okay?" Alex asked, looking around at his group. The Zivani students were pressed against the wall, trembling. Their skin had turned almost white with fear. None of them seemed hurt, just terrified. "We need to go back," said Eliaven. "Now." They turned around, but had only gone a few meters when another tremor hit. This one was shorter but stronger. A large section of the path behind them collapsed, falling away into a dark pit below. They were now trapped between the fallen ceiling ahead and the broken path behind. "We're cut off," cried one of the students Alex didn't know well. "We can't. Get back to the main chamber." Professor Taslin's voice came through on their communication badges. "All groups report status. Is anyone hurt?" Eliaven pressed her badge. "Group 3 is trapped, Professor. The path collapsed in both directions. We're not hurt, but we can't get out." "Stay calm," replied Professor Taslin. "Emergency services are on the way. It will take them about an hour to reach you with equipment." "Professor," Eliaven said, her voice shaking, "the temperature is dropping quickly in our section. I think the tremor damaged the thermal regulation crystals." This was bad news. Alex knew the Zivani were very sensitive to cold. Already he could see his group members starting to move more slowly as their body temperature dropped. "We need to find a way out before emergency services arrive," Alex said. "You'll get too cold waiting that long." He looked at the collapsed path behind them. There was a gap between the broken path and the wall, about 4 meters across, and very deep. On the other side, the path was still intact and would lead back to the main chamber. "I can jump that gap," Alex said, looking at the distance. "Impossible," said Drezek. "No one could jump that far, especially in these low-gravity conditions. You'd fall into the pit." "Humans are good jumpers," Alex explained. "And I was on my school's long jump team. I can make it across, find Professor Taslin, and bring help faster." The Zivani looked at him with doubt and fear. But they were getting colder by the minute, and they had no better options. "Be careful," said Eliaven. Alex backed up to get a running start. He focused on the other side of the gap, took a deep breath, and sprinted forward. At the edge, he pushed off with all his strength and leaped across the gap. For a moment, he was flying through the air. The low gravity helped him stay up longer than he would have on Earth. He landed on the other side and rolled to absorb the impact. When he stood up and turned around, the Zivani were staring at him with their mouths open in shock. "I'll be back with help soon," Alex called to them. "Stay together to keep warm." He ran back along the path toward the main chamber, moving faster than he had allowed himself to move since arriving on Zivon Prime. In the main chamber, he found Professor Taslin organizing the other students. "Alex," she exclaimed, "how did you get here? Your group is trapped." "I jumped across the gap," he said simply. "My group needs help now. They're getting too cold." Professor Taslin's skin changed to a surprised purple color, but she quickly focused on the emergency. "The rescue team is still 30 minutes away." "That's too long," Alex said. "Show me where the emergency equipment is kept. I have an idea." Professor Taslin led Alex to a storage room near the entrance of the caverns. Inside were emergency supplies, medical kits, communication devices, and some equipment Alex didn't recognize. "The rescue team will bring climbing gear," said Professor Taslin. "Without it, we cannot reach your group." Alex looked around the room. "What about these?" he asked, pointing to some long, strong cables. "Those are for the lighting system," she explained, "but they're not strong enough to hold a person." "They might hold me," Alex said. "I need rope, these cables, and that portable heater." Professor Taslin's skin turned a doubtful blue color, but she helped Alex gather the items. They quickly returned to the main chamber where the other students and teachers waited anxiously. "You cannot go alone," said Professor Taslin. "It's too dangerous." My friends will get too cold if we wait, Alex insisted. I'm used to cold temperatures and I'm stronger than I look. Principal Klovek, who had arrived with the second group, stepped forward. Let me understand your plan, Alex. I'll carry the heater to my friends and set it up to keep them warm until rescue arrives, Alex explained. I can use the cables and rope to make a path over the gap. The principal and Professor Taslin exchanged worried looks. The gap is 4 meters wide, said Professor Taslin. Even if you can jump at once, carrying equipment and making multiple trips would be extremely risky. I'll be careful, Alex promised. But we need to act now. After a moment of thought, Principal Klovek nodded. Very well, but take this communication device so we can stay in contact. Alex gathered the supplies. The small portable heater, cables, rope, and a bag of emergency thermal blankets. It was a lot to carry, but the lower gravity helped. He headed back down the west path, moving as quickly as he safely could. When he reached the gap, he called to his friends on the other side. I'm back. I brought supplies. The Zivani students looked, relieved to see him. Their skin had paled to a light blue and they huddled together for warmth. How will you get across? Called Eliavan, her voice weak from the cold. Alex secured the rope to a sturdy crystal column on his side of the gap. Then he carefully tied the supplies to his back, leaving his arms free. He backed up, took a deep breath, and ran toward the gap again. This time the jump was harder because of the extra weight, but he made it across, landing solidly on the other side. The Zivani student stared in amazement. That was impossible, whispered Drezik. No Zivani could have made that jump, especially carrying equipment. Alex quickly untied the supplies and set up the heater. Warm air began flowing out, and the Zivani students gathered around it gratefully. This will keep you warm until the rescue team arrives, Alex said, handing out thermal blankets. But I need to create a safer way across the gap for when they come. He tied one end of the cable to another crystal column on this side of the gap. The cable was long enough to stretch across, but he needed to secure the other end. I'll have to jump back across, he told them. Again? Asked Valan, shocked. But you've already done it twice. Alex smiled. It's not that hard for a human. He made sure the cable was securely tied to his belt, then took a running start and jumped across the gap again. When he landed, he pulled the cable tight and tied it to the crystal column on that side. Now there was a guide cable spanning the gap. He repeated the process with a second cable, placing it higher to serve as a handrail. When he was finished, he'd created a simple bridge that the rescue team could use to bring the Zivani students across safely. Alex reported his progress through the communication device. The bridge is ready and my friends are warming up by the heater. Excellent work, replied Principal Klovek, sounding impressed. The rescue team has arrived and is heading your way now. While they waited, Alex sat with his Zivani classmates around the heater. I don't understand, said one of the students Alex didn't know well. How can you jump so far? How can you carry such heavy things? How are you not affected by the cold? Humans evolved on a planet with higher gravity than you're used to, Alex explained. We need strong muscles and bones to move around. Earth also has extreme temperatures in some places, so our bodies can handle heat and cold better than yours. But it seems like you have superpowers, said Drezik. Alex laughed. I'm just a normal human. On Earth, what I did today wouldn't be considered special. Many humans could do the same or better. The Zivani students looked at each other, trying to imagine a world filled with beings as physically capable as Alex. 20 minutes later, the rescue team arrived on the other side of the gap. They used Alex's cable bridge to carefully bring across climbing harnesses and more equipment. 2 rescue workers at a time helped each student cross the gap safely. When everyone was across, they all headed back to the main chamber. The other students and teachers were waiting anxiously. A cheer went up when Alex's group appeared safe and unharmed. Principal Klovek approached Alex. You showed remarkable courage and resourcefulness today. The emergency team said you're quick, so actions prevented your classmates from suffering cold-related injuries. I just did what needed to be done, Alex said, feeling a little embarrassed by the attention. As they boarded the buses to return to school, the attitude toward Alex had clearly changed. Students who had previously avoided him now wanted to sit near him. They asked questions about Earth and humans. Some even asked if he would demonstrate other amazing abilities. "Can all humans jump like you did?" asked a young Zivani. "Most healthy humans can jump pretty far," Alex explained. "Olympic athletes can jump much farther than I did today." "Can humans really survive in temperatures below freezing?" asked another. "With proper clothing, yes. Some humans even swim in ice-cold water for fun." The questions continued all the way back to school. Alex tried to answer honestly without making humans sound too intimidating. When they arrived at Celestial Academy, Eliaven pulled Alex aside. "You saved us today," she said. "Thank you." "You would have done the same for me," Alex replied. "No," she said, her skin turning a thoughtful purple color. "I couldn't have done what you did. None of us could. I think we all understand now why humans have been able to survive on such a harsh planet. You're built for challenges we can hardly imagine." News of Alex's rescue spread quickly through the school and beyond. By evening, Zivani news networks were reporting on the extraordinary acts of the human student. Parents called the school to learn more about the Earth Exchange program. Government officials contacted Principal Klovek requesting meetings with Alex. As he lay in bed that night, Alex thought about how differently the Zivani saw him now. He had gone from being feared as a potentially dangerous alien to being admired as some kind of superhero. Neither view was quite right. He was just a human being, with all the strengths and weaknesses that came with it. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The Zivani would have more questions, more expectations. Alex would need to help them understand that humans weren't superheroes or monsters, just another species trying to make their way in a vast universe. But for tonight, he was content knowing that he had helped bridge the gap, both literally and figuratively, between humans and Zivani. The day after the Crystal Caverns rescue, Alex walked into his first class to find everyone already seated and waiting. As soon as he entered, the Zivani students stood up and made a strange gesture, touching their fingertips to their foreheads and then extending their hands outward. Alex wasn't sure what it meant. Instructor Narivesh smiled at him. "That is our gesture of respect for someone who has saved lives," she explained. "Your actions yesterday have earned you great honor." Alex felt his face grow warm. "Thank you, but really I just did what anyone would do. Perhaps any human," said Instructor Narivesh. "For us, what you did was extraordinary." The class that day was different. Instead of the regular lesson, Instructor Narivesh asked Alex to share information about Earth and humans. The students listened with interest, asking questions about human biology, Earth's environment, and daily life on his planet. "Is it true humans sleep lying flat?" asked one student. "Yes, usually on beds," Alex said. "And you only need 6 to 8 hours of sleep?" asked another, amazed. "Zivani need 12 to 14 hours. How can you live with such extreme weather?" a third student wanted to know. Alex explained about houses, heating, air conditioning, and warm clothing. He told them about swimming in oceans, hiking in mountains, and camping in forests. The more he talked, the more he realized how different Earth was from Zivan Prime, and how those differences had shaped humans and Zivani into very different species. By lunchtime, Alex needed a break from all the attention. He went to a quiet corner of the campus where there was a garden of glowing plants. To his surprise, Principal Klovek was there, looking at a tablet. "Ah, Alex," said the principal. "I was hoping to speak with you. Please sit down." Alex sat on a bench next to Principal Klovek, who put his tablet away. "You have caused quite a stir," said the principal, "not just in our school but across Zivan Prime. The news services cannot stop talking about the human who saved 5 Zivani students." "I didn't do it for attention," Alex said. "I know. That is what makes it more impressive." The principal's skin shifted to a thoughtful shade of purple. "Before you came here, Many Zivani believed humans were dangerous. Your physical abilities frightened us. We thought perhaps Earth produced aggressive, violent beings. Alex frowned. Some humans can be aggressive, just like some Zivani probably. Can be, but most of us just want to live peacefully. Yesterday you showed us something important, said Principal Klovek. You used your strength to help, not harm. You showed courage and quick thinking. These are qualities we value highly. Thank you, said Alex, not sure what else to say. I have been contacted by our government, continued the principal. They wish to expand the exchange program. More human students to come here, and more Zivani students to visit Earth. That's great, Alex said, excited by the idea. Yes, but there are concerns. Our students would need special protection on Earth, environmental suits, special living quarters. Your world would be very challenging for Zivani. We could make it work, Alex said. Humans are good at adapting environments. We could create spaces that are comfortable for Zivani. Principal Klovek nodded. That is what I told the government representatives. I believe this exchange program is important for both our species. After lunch, Alex had physical education class. Coach Prelvik had a surprise waiting. Today, announced the coach, Alex will teach us some Earth sports and games. The students looked excited. Alex hadn't prepared anything, but he quickly thought of simple games that could be adapted for the more fragile Zivani. He taught them how to play tag with very gentle touches, a modified version of basketball with a soft ball and lower hoops, and relay races where the focus was on teamwork rather than speed. The Zivani students were slow by human standards, but they had excellent balance and coordination. On Earth, there are many different sports for people with different abilities, Alex explained. Not all humans are the same. Some are stronger or faster than others, some have physical challenges, but everyone can participate in some way. After class, Eliavan approached him. You would be a great teacher, she said. You understand how to explain things so we can understand. Thanks, said Alex. I'm learning a lot about Zivani too. I think we complement each other well. Complement? Eliavan's skin flickered in confusion. It means we have different strengths that work well together, Alex explained. Humans are physically strong and adaptable. Zivani are intellectually advanced and socially harmonious. We can learn from each other. Over the next few days, Alex's schedule became very busy. In addition to regular classes, he was invited to special meetings with government officials, interviewed by Zivani news services, and asked to speak to other schools via video calls. At a formal dinner, hosted by the Science Academy, Alex met Dr. Vrelnor, a leading Zivani xenobiologist who studied other species. Your visit has changed how we view humans, said Dr. Vrelnor. Before we thought of Earth as a dangerous planet that produced dangerous beings. Now we see it as a challenging planet that produced remarkably adaptive beings. We're not so different, Alex said. We all want to learn, grow, and connect with others. Physically, we are very different, Dr. Vrelnor corrected him. But perhaps in the ways that matter most, you are right. On Alex's final day at Celestial Academy, the school held a special assembly. All 500 students gathered in the main hall, along with teachers, parents, and community members. Principal Klovek called Alex to the front and presented him with a crystal award. This crystal is from the very cavern where you showed such bravery, said the principal. It symbolizes the bridge you built between our worlds. Strong, clear, and illuminating. Alex accepted the award, feeling both honored and embarrassed by all the attention. Thank you, he said to the assembly. When I came to Zivan Prime, I was afraid you would find me strange and frightening. And at first you did. But you gave me a chance to show who I really am. You looked past our differences to see what we could learn from each other. He held up the crystal, which caught the light and scattered it in rainbow patterns across the hall. On Earth, we have a saying, a diamond in the rough. It means something valuable that doesn't look special at first. I think our friendship between humans and Zivani is like that. It might not have seemed promising at first, but it will be valuable to both our worlds. The assembly ended with an announcement from Principal Klovek. 20 human students would arrive next semester, and 30 Zivani students had volunteered to study on Earth with special environmental suits. As Alex packed his belongings that evening, Eliaven, Drezik, and Valen came to his room to say goodbye. "We made you something," said Eliaven, handing him a small package. Inside was a crystal model showing a human figure and a Zivani figure standing side by side. "So you remember us," said Drezik. "I could never forget you," Alex said, carefully placing the crystal in his bag. "You're my first alien friends." "And you are ours," said Valan. "Perhaps someday I will visit Earth with the exchange program. I'd like that," said Alex. "I'll show you the Grand Canyon. It's not as colorful as your crystal caverns, but it's pretty impressive." The next morning, Alex boarded the transport ship that would take him back to Earth. As the ship rose through the atmosphere, he looked down at the blue and purple planet. That had been his home for the past months. He remembered his first day at Celestial Academy, when the entire school had been terrified of him. Now he was leaving with new friends, new knowledge, and a new understanding of humanity's place in the universe. Earth wasn't a death world. It was just one of many different worlds, each shaping its inhabitants in unique ways. And those differences weren't something to fear. They were strengths that could bring species together. As Zivon Prime faded to a small blue dot behind him, Alex looked forward to sharing his story with everyone back home. Humans and Zivani might look very different on the outside, but they shared the same curiosity, courage, and capacity for friendship that made life worth living, no matter what planet you called home.